If you've been thinking about getting into personal branding photography, but you don't have any idea how to get the photos that clients will actually use on their website for their marketing and to promote their business, then keep watching, because in this video I'm explaining exactly how I plan a personal branding photo shoot in order to get images that my clients love and actually use. So the biggest mistake that I see photographers make when they're getting into personal branding photography is that they treat it like a portrait session. They hear from their client, or they learn a little bit about their client, about their business, but there's not much planning involved. And so what happens is that they show up at the photo shoot and they treat it as if it's a portrait session. So they take some headshots, and those are pretty, and they take maybe some photos if they have any products or something like that, but they don't really have like the flat lays or the custom stock photos or usable photos for the client's website. And so the key to having a successful, fruitful personal branding photo shoot is planning. Planning is the name of the game. In order to plan a targeted, purposeful, strategic personal branding photo shoot, I start with a brand questionnaire. So what's in the brand questionnaire? Basically, it's a deep dive into the client's brand, who is their target client, who are the people that they serve, what is their ideal client profile. It goes over like their brand colors, their brand vibe, what is the mission of their business, what makes them unique, what is their unique value proposition, all of those things that bring a brand together. Those are the things that are in the questionnaire. And yes, they matter, because you're not just shooting for your client, you're actually shooting for your client's client, because you want to help your client attract more clients. It's very meta. You want to help your client attract more of their ideal customer. So really, you're photographing for that ideal customer to catch their attention, to pique their interest, and to check out your client, the business owner, and help them book more clients and make more money. Another piece of the puzzle that I do not skip, no matter what, is a planning call. And I know some other photographers can get away without having an actual planning call, but it's really important to me to be on the same page as my client, to hash out any details, to discuss locations if we need to talk over outfits and props and that sort of thing. And yes, you can get by with probably just a questionnaire, but I find it best to have an actual planning call, and that also builds a relationship with the client. So what happens on these planning calls? Like I said, we'll talk about the location, we'll talk about outfits, we'll talk about logistics, we'll talk about props, and clarify any questions that I may have after receiving the questionnaire from the client. And then I also ask the client to kind of pull images that they particularly feel drawn to or that they like, because I feel like it's important for them to have actual visual inspiration, so that when I'm trying to take the photos or trying to create for them, we're on the same page. And it's not a matter of just like copying the photos that they've pulled, but instead like knowing what it is that they're hoping to get and then putting my own spin on that. Because like I tell my clients all the time, your interpretation of a photo of you sitting could be interpreted a million different ways. And without any kind of visual inspiration for that, I may take a picture of you sitting, but then it's not what you were thinking. And then you end up disappointed because there was that mismatch. There was that not complete communication of what the ideal sitting pose would be. So that's why I ask my clients to pull inspiration. If they are familiar with Pinterest, I ask them to put a Pinterest board together. Otherwise, I just ask them to pull some images from Google or from Pinterest, or screenshot things and send those over in an email, just so I have an idea of the kind of things that they are looking for, like what's in their mind, like what are they inspired by, what are they drawn to, because that helps bring it all together. Like I mentioned, we'll do the questionnaire, we'll do a planning call, and then I put together a brand session guide, like a kind of a creative brief will put together a mood board if they don't already have one from like a graphic designer or brand designer that they're working with, or a web designer that they're working with, and just tie it all together. And in this brand session guide, it gives them the rundown of everything we've spoken about. It tells them all the locations we are going to that we're planning for, their outfit plan. I actually do ask my clients to send me photos of their outfits ahead of time if they can, so we can integrate that into the session guide. It gives them the timeline of the day so they know what to expect when the hair and makeup artist is getting there, what time we need to be at the location, all the details. I have them review it just to make sure I haven't left anything out. And then that is when it all comes together, because by the time they get that, they're getting ready for the actual photo shoot. Send them a couple reminder emails, and we're off to the races for the actual photo shoot. So planning a personal branding photo shoot isn't difficult, but it does require more upfront work from both the client and the photographer. And sometimes one of the obstacles that can happen is that the client doesn't actually fill out the questionnaire ahead of time. And so maybe you get to the planning call and they haven't filled anything out. So what I'll do in that type of situation, if it happens, is that I will go over the questionnaire with them on the call and kind of just fill out as we go. And so sometimes that planning call takes a little bit longer, but it's kind of like a two birds, one stone type situation. What's most important to me is that planning call, so that I have face-to-face time with them, that they understand everything that's going into a personal branding shoot, because this is an investment in their business. I want to see them make more money. I want them to get a return on the investment, and one of the ways that I can do that and guarantee that is by having the planning call itself, because I think when the client is able to see what the inspiration is and to see what the results are, it kind of ties it all together for them. And so if you are getting into personal branding photography, getting into photographing more for small business owners, then one of the key pieces in order to have a successful shoot is to plan the personal branding photo shoot. That way everyone's on the same page, everyone knows what's going on, because usually if there's like a miscommunication or unmet expectation, that's where things go wrong. That's where things start going south. So we do preventative work. We make sure to plan on the front end. We run it by the client. And, if the client signs off on it, the client signs off on it, because there's nothing more disappointing as a photographer. It's not about me, but there's nothing more disappointing than doing a great photo shoot, or what you thought was a great photo shoot, and then you send it off to the client and then you never see the photos used ever. And because it makes you question yourself, like, did I do something wrong? Did I not, create usable photos for them? Where did we go wrong? And sometimes it has nothing to do with me. Sometimes it has completely to do with like the client, their launch, publishing their website, and that sort of thing. But, as a photographer, I always wonder, like, hey, how come they haven't used any of their photos that they spent a lot of money on? But that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to execute on their vision, and how I do that is through planning the personal branding photo shoot. And if you're a photographer who's looking to get into brand photography or personal branding photography, but you don't know how to get started, or like the types of photos you should even be taking, I have a resource for you in the description below. It is the 9 types of photos that you should take at every branding photo shoot to cover all of your bases. You can comment the word checklist and I'll send it over to you. My name is Katie. I've been a brand photographer for the last 6 years. I've been a photographer for the last 15 years, and I'm helping other photographers get their businesses started, growing, and succeeding. And I'll see you next time.